Hi everyone! Today I'll show you how you're gonna make your red mung bean bread, and of course we're gonna use our bread machine or bread maker. This bread will be very soft and a little bit of sweetness. Let's start with our ingredients. So we do have here instant yeast. This is 2 tablespoons. We also have skim milk. This is half cup of skim milk. We also have sugar. This is 1 cup of sugar, and we're gonna be adding just a little bit of salt, like half teaspoon or 1 teaspoon if you want it. And then we also have our 4 cups of flour. Now we're gonna move on with our wet ingredients. We do have here 2 whole eggs, and then we do have half cup of vegetable oil. We can also add lard, which is half cup as well. And then we have warm water. We needed to make sure that that is warm so that it would wake up the yeast that we'll be putting in later. And then let's put our ingredients on our bread machine. Any brand of bread machine is perfect. So you can see bread machines sometimes, especially with Breville, you can actually remove that little thing inside it. We just needed to make sure that when you put that in, it's aligned with a little notch. And don't worry, it would be secured once it's start operating. We'll be adding, firstly, we're going to be adding our wet ingredients. I will add the measurement of the ingredients on the description below. If you are new to my channel, please browse my channel. There's a lot of bread machine recipes in there. And please do subscribe and click the notification bell because I will create some more recipes for you. And you know what, guys, the only important thing with bread machines is you will add all of the wet ingredients, and last will be your dry ingredients. And you needed to make sure that your measurements are exact, because if not, your bread or your dough won't be successful. And one thing that I want to show you is every bread maker, I think there is a lock. So just like with Breville, you just need to push it down and then it would be secured. And if you want to take it out, you're just gonna pull it up and then it would be very easy. Just make sure that it is locked like that before you turn it on. I love using bread machine because it makes your life easy. You don't need to spend a lot of time just to make a dough or just to make a bread. So let's set up the bread machine. You just needed to make sure that you selected the dough or the settings that you wanted. At this recording, we're gonna select the last one. You can see that the screen is flickering. It's just because of the camera, but it's not really flickering in real life. So just select dough and then press the start button. This will go for about 1.5 hours. After 10 to 15 minutes, this should how it looks like. You can see there's no more lumps beside the bread machine. Now while we are waiting for the bread machine, we're gonna start on our mung bean paste. We're gonna bring the water into boil, and now we have this overnight soaked red mung bean. We already soaked this for the overnight, so it would be a little soft. As you can see, you can pinch this, but it's not totally that soft. So we're gonna bring it to boil until we reach our desired texture. Now let's just go back to our bread machine. It's now kneading for about 30 minutes. As you can see, it's now very soft, but it's not yet ready, so we're gonna give it some more time. Mung bean now is starting to boil, and what we needed to do in here is What you can see in the video, I just needed to press it a little bit like that so that it would squeeze that mung bean. However, some people would prefer to put this in a blender so they would have a very smooth texture, but for me, I like a little crunch, so I will not put this in the blender. Instead, I will just press it down. It would take time, yes, but you'll just need to make sure that all of the mung bean has been pressed down and soft, so it would give you the perfect crunch. Now, after 20 more minutes, as you can see, it's now perfectly pressed. It's time for us to add the condensed milk. It's 1 cup of condensed milk and over the 1 cup of mung bean that we soaked overnight. We're just going to put this into boil. The heat is still on, and this will infuse the flavor of the condensed milk. Unlike when you put this into the blender straight away, it doesn't have a chance to boil. So doing this strategy is what I prefer. Now that it is now boiling, we'll be adding 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, so it would enhance more of the flavor of the mung bean. Now what we needed to do is to mix it up and wait until we reach our desired texture. It needs to be a little bit sticky and pasty. The most exciting part for me is when the bread machine is finished. As you can see, our dough is all rised up and this is very soft. So our bread will remain soft for 3 to 5 days. Now let's take the pan out and get the bowl rolling. Look at our beautiful mung bean paste. Now let's put that aside and let's start cutting the dough. I like cutting the dough in half so you won't work too much on your space. And then just set that aside and put it back to the bread machine. Just flatten your dough like that and just cut it on your desired measurement. For me, I don't use weighing scale. I just cut it on my desired bread size. I normally get 25 to 30 pieces of bread on this setup. Now this is the half of our dough, so we're just gonna do it individually. You just needed to press it down using your rolling pin and just put that in your pan and add at least 1 tablespoon of your mung bean paste. Now what we needed to do in here is to seal it. So you can see you can just do grab, seal. That's the strategy that I'm using until it is all tucked in, and then you're just gonna quickly press it down a little bit like that, and then you're just gonna do cutting on each end. I normally do a 4 cuts besides, so it would give you a perfect like flower shape. And if you're lazy like me and you don't like using the rolling pin, you can just press it down to your palm. It's just gonna do the same thing, and you'll just need it to put in your mung bean paste and tuck it. On this one, we don't do a flower style. What we needed to do is just to do like a bun, so a round shape. So we're just tuck it in, leave it rounded like that without pressing it down to your mat. This is how it looks like with bread machine when you make a dough. It actually for me it passed the window pane test. It's very stretchy. It looks like you really need it, and this would just make you a very perfect bread. Now what we just needed to do in our bread is to brush it up with egg. I just added a little bit of water in one whole egg and brush it up. And we are now in the final steps. We're in putting in sesame seeds in our bread. I normally use black sesame seeds, but you can also use the white sesame seeds here. You'll just need it to put in your rolling pin in the egg wash, and then just dip it into your sesame seeds and apply it into your bread. We are now putting into our oven. It is preheated 180 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes. Please help me grow. Hit the subscribe button and like the video. Thank you.